Tell us who you are.
My name is Wilfred Mwari, and I'm a team leader for Tanzania AEE ministry. I'm married to Rachel, and we have 2 children. Annelyn is 10, a girl, and Rollin is 6, a boy.
And Wilfred, how long have you been with African Evangelistic Enterprise?
I joined African Evangelistic Enterprise Tanzania 1995, end of 95. Worked in different departments, particularly the training one, and I only became a team leader at the end of 2010, November 2010.
So tell me about the work of AEE in Uganda.
In Tanzania.
Sorry, in Tanzania.
Yeah. Pretty much like other countries, we are involved in proclamation of the word, and what we do is every year we pick one city in our country. You may call them towns, but we have regions, so the center of the region, we call it city or town. We will put our resources there and we will go and proclaim the word. And the way we do this is we begin right from January. We engage the body of Christ around there, even the secular leaders, share the vision that we want people to come back to God through Christ, and we do training, and we do reconciliation, and we do all sorts of things that we need the church to come together and to give us the mandate to work with them to preach the gospel. And during the course of preaching, we will have deed part, which is when we are able to provide medical care, we do that. When we are able to provide clothes, we do that. When we are able to provide eyeglasses, we do that. And then we very much invest on leadership training, leadership of the church, but also leadership of the community. And
you work with a cross-section of churches?
It's our policy that we don't work with one denomination or two. If we go to the city, it is our responsibility as African Evangelistic Enterprise to engage with all churches when it comes to the gospel. In between, we will have to work out together with the leaders based on the seminars to try and see those that stand for the things that Jesus died for. The churches that are existing, but they don't stand for the things that Jesus died for, we don't care whether they are called churches or not, we part ways. But we give them opportunity to hear the gospel as it is, regardless of their status. And then in between, through seminars, building relationship, and standing on the cause of Christ, we are able to come together. And may I say that quite often we find serious churches. Very few are heretical. I don't have any experience of finding a church in the city that doesn't preach Christ. So yes, but here's the policy. We work with all churches, all parachurch organizations, but up to the point where those parachurch organizations or churches stand for the things for which Christ died for.
Okay. So what's the major prayer for Tanzania now?
2 prayer items. Number 1, that in spite of the changing political atmosphere in our country, which makes it difficult for religious freedom to be experienced because of the Islamic pressure put on Christians through government pressures. In spite of that, will you pray that we will still have opportunities to preach open air, to preach, go live on radios and TVs, and to also do our preaching engagements in all the places? That's one. Number 2, for us to be able to go out there and do the job, we also need to be seen in our families as responsible husbands and wives, taking care of our kids, taking care of our families, and that requires not just money, but resources. So will you pray that we as individuals out there will also be resourced to take care of our families, much as we will pray that God will help us to resource our ministry so that we have the necessary equipments to go out there. And the equipments here, I mean, the biggest cry in our country is actually the PA systems that will help us to go and preach the gospel in open air, because that's what we do best.
Okay. Thanks very much, Wilfred.